On today's video, Lost Kingdom 70 is about to light up in fire as two Imperium kingdoms are about to go up against each other. Big power in both of them, tons of fighting in this video, some reports too, as well as potentially some strategy talk, but flagging, this is Lost Kingdom Season 2, mayhem all over the place. If you like action, you're gonna love this video. So sit back, drop a like on it, and yeah, let's go. YouTube, welcome back to Gekko Gaming. Freaking Lost Kingdom 70 is on fire. Two Imperium kingdoms are about to go at each other as a corner kingdom of 556 in pink are up against 560 in the top middle in blue. And to make matters worse for 556, they have baby blue to contest with in the left middle as well. Before we start with all of that though, I'm a sponsored content creator by Rise of Kingdoms. If you enjoy the content, hit that like button, of course, subscribe down below, turn on the bell to get a notification when part 2 and even 3 of this Lost Kingdom video series comes out. 63% of you are not subscribed yet. Welcome to all of you new viewers. Thank you for checking out the channel. Hopefully, I'll earn your subscription today. With that being said, the war is on. This is the first clash. This is the first area. This is the main area of confrontation right now. And blue have a slight lead early on. The reason blue have a slight lead early on is just because the last flag to be built is the pink one, and as such, blue can rally that flag, as you can see right there, but pink cannot rally the blue flag yet. There's another slight advantage in this situation, and this is the first tip for you guys. You guys can't say I don't drop the tips early on in the video. When a flag is being built, the moment it finishes building, the troops are sent out of the flag. So if there's a rally hitting the flag at the same time that the flag finished building, it'll burn the flag instantly. So a small tip for you guys is, in case you cannot stop the flag from being built, you might want to consider time that final rally at a time where it will be hitting the flag when it finishes building. That will instantly trigger a first burn, which will require the other team to extinguish that flag early on. And that gives you a shot at the next rally to burn it. And once you do, they have the cooldown on the extinguishing. So a first tip for you guys is, in these kinds of situations, pink is actually on the back foot. Even if they manage to build this flag, they could get burned in here and have to extinguish it and potentially lose this flag. Personal tip, I wouldn't drop the flag last like these guys in pink did. I would let the other team drop their flag and then put them under the pressure rather than put myself in this situation. But again, not the biggest of deals, right? It's first confrontation. Everybody's going nuts and wants to get going. Let's look at the two kingdoms that are the main focus here, because 556 and 561 are two very strong Imperium kingdoms, the only ones in this KVK. They're up against each other, and then we'll discuss 581, who are up against 556 too. Now, you guys see me looking this way because I got a little bit of a cheat sheet on this monitor, which you're seeing right there. This is 561. 561 have a ton of power. 10 billion power lines, 7 billion power lines, 6.5 billion power lines. The Navi Alliance, the big one you haven't seen yet, the third one in its size are the ones we're seeing on the screen now. On the other side, we have, what, 3 8 billion power alliances, then a 7 billion power, a 5 and a 4. These kingdoms are stacked. LV folks have a little bit of a better distribution per se, but both of these kingdoms are super, super strong, and we're gonna see some madness. The folks in LV and what you saw previously are, again, 556 are in pink and 561 are in blue. You'll see in a bit 581 in baby blue at the middle in the left side. They're also contesting 556. My understanding was that there was an agreement where 556 would 1v1 against 561. And I thought that 581 were just going to go down to fight 573, which is another kingdom that's at the bottom left side, and it is surrounded by opposition as well. It kind of worked out really badly in this KVK for how the map worked, because the one side has 3 of the 4 corners. 3 corner kingdoms are together in a team, and out of those 3, there's only one situation where they sandwich a kingdom, but they sandwich a kingdom in a way where 2 corner kingdoms sandwich a middle one, which means that the middle one can go use the other middle to get one zone, and then they essentially sandwich a kingdom. So realistically, out of 3 corners that are together, 2 of them have a big problem, and one of them is kind of free to go to their zone 5. And the same goes for the middle kingdom on the other side, which it's a whole lot of madness. We're focusing on the war, though. What you guys have told me more than once is that you want to see more of the map. So I'm going to focus a bit more in this video to zooming out, going into zones, showing you where we're looking at, so you have a better idea on how things are looking. Now, when I record these videos, by the way, where you see me on the screen, I actually watch the footage and kind of talk you guys through it. So if you see me looking that way more than at you, it's because I'm looking at what's going on the monitor right now, just so you know. With this being said, a massive open field brawl is going on in this area. This is the first place where they clashed. There's rallies going on to the flags. There's open field fights all over the place. And this is like the very, very beginning. This fight is going to go on for quite a while. As a matter of fact, we are going to cover this in more than one part, like I told you guys in the intro. So if you are not subscribed, make sure you do and you hit that bell for notifications so you know when those videos come out. We might even watch this live on stream tomorrow, maybe. We'll see. Drop a like on the video and let me know in the comments if you want me to spectate this if it's going on stream tomorrow. In this KVK, which is, by the way, KVK Season 2, we have a bunch of migrants. You see a Wuzetian on pretty much almost all flags. It's a little bit of a broken thing where people come into Wuzetians, into KVKs, where other kingdoms haven't even had the chance to get Wuzetian yet because they need to win this KVK. People got zeroed, by the way. This Kanuni person was at like 80 million power, I believe, when he came here. I caught him at 74 mil, and now we catch a rally that destroyed him down to 61. 0 Pyro, goodbye, my friend. The random teleporting and not shielding is not a good idea at all. But with that being said, once you go take a look at the map, you'll see we zoom in and out quite a bit. You'll see that all of these folks have flagged in a way where majority of the confrontations had a potential for a 2x rallies, for 2 double rallies essentially. The most important of all of these pushes for pink was the top one all the way by the border of the map. The reason for that is once you get that top one all the way to the zone's border and you start going down the border, you can really cut off all of the other flags by simply burning 1 or 2 flags. So for pink, it was like, we're going to send a bunch of arms out to the middle and 1 to the top, while blue focused to make sure that they have double rally situations in most areas, while they didn't really focus on that top area. That later on came to be a little bit of an issue, which you'll see how they dealt with it then. But for now, it's all about rallying. It's all about the power. It's all about the open field. Now, truthfully, rallying a flag while the open field is not in your favor is a little bit of suicide. And it was very clear for a little while that pink were in control. Pink definitely had the control early on. Yes, some of the guys in 561 are going to come in the channel and be like, oh, Gekko talking crap about us. Dislike, unsubscribe, terrible person, accusations, right? That's not the point. The point is that in the early stage, it seemed that pink did have a better advantage on the open field, while blue were more focused on rallying. But the result of that was getting swarmed consistently. One of the things that I did not get a hold of too much are reports. If you're someone from 556 or 561 who has reports from any fights or any time that you want to share, I'm in Kingdom 59, 1059. You can look me up in JWM. I believe I should be on R1 or an R3. It depends if I was bumped up after going to JWM2 for Cyrus Invitational. PM me, send me your reports so we can feature them in the part 2 of this series, even maybe part 3 if there's enough action for it to justify a 3rd part as well. Pink were no suckers though. Pink were controlling the open field while blue were rallying them, but they were also pushing back. As you can see in here, this is a perfect example at where blue were like, nah, you're not rallying us without open field presence, and they just destroyed this rally. Pink were kind of doing the same thing on the blue rallies, except that blue was also fighting in the open field in the pink area, so it seemed a little more hectic. You can see pink definitely had some areas in which they were burning flags much more efficiently. That flag, by the way, very well tucked around that mountain. It's one of my favorite places where people drop flags, because it's really like, it's such a well-protected area. Everybody has to go around the mountain to get to it. Now, I find out later on, by the way, that that guy right there is Sebs, one of the members in the channel. His name right now, I believe, was Oh My God Lag, and I didn't know it was him until I was like, wait a second. That display picture looks familiar to me. And then he changed his name, and I was like, yo, let me see some reports. So we got some reports in here for you guys to kind of see. This is a little bit from the future, a little bit from the past. It's a mix of reports because I didn't have like a group with these guys or any of the sides, a group of leaders or something that were constantly feeding me reports. I couldn't piece which report went into which part of the timeline. So what you guys get is a bunch of reports showing you all the stats of them and all the results of them, but they're not necessarily in a chronological order or in an events order, or not necessarily what you're seeing on the screen. The result is these reports. It just happens because, you know, some KVKs, I just don't get in touch with people early enough to get the group going on and get people in it and get more of the kingdoms involved. For the record, both kingdoms can still do this. If you guys want to send me reports, again, you know how to get me. I'm totally down to show everything and anything. Titan here also sent us a bunch of reports, and there are some juicy ones. These rallies are doing massive amounts of damage. Charles Martel and Gisong Ye on a flag is something I haven't seen in a while, especially because I would have looked for something else, but not a Cao Cao Julius Caesar. I'll tell you that much. A Cao Cao Julius Caesar, not expertise on the flag, is definitely not something else that's better. Wu Zetian with Yi Song-ye, though, is much, much better, and you can see that the results are fairly there. You can see that the difference in terms of kills is not that big, but in terms of power, it was huge. In here, this is actually a good defense right there. That rally took a massive beating, and it also had a swarm doing more damage to it. So overall, both sides were trading fairly even early on in their KVK interaction. Now again, this is just the beginning. The folks in pink are contesting with blue, and at the same time, they got to keep an eye on the bottom area where baby blue were. I'm not here to say, I'm not trying, how would I say this without offending anyone? Because I don't mean to disrespect 581, the guys in baby blue who are fighting pink as well. But my understanding is that their power is considerably lower than a 556 or 561. Now, that doesn't mean they're a bad kingdom by any shape or form. They put up with 556 for a while, and they're actually pushing back now too, which is very, very, very good by them. But because they are a bit less strong than the folks in 556, early on they were really struggling, and it took a little while for them to get going. And some areas they lost, other areas they got better at. And so remember that 556, at the same time they're building flags this way and they're sending warriors this way, they also need to start dealing downwards with 581, which is a slight issue for them, right? They have to work this way too. They need to make sure they're burning flags here, that they're not letting 581 push out too much, because 581 is an ally of 561, who is the blue team. And that's not what 556 want to find themselves in. They don't want to find themselves in a spot where 581 can help double rally. They don't want to find themselves in a spot where the two allies meet and essentially work together. Granted, 581 could have dropped a fortress by the blue area and come help, technically. But as I understood and mentioned before, it seemed that 556 and 561 were gonna kind of 1v1 it. And 581 were going to do their thing, but not really get involved up here in this area. 581 did drop fortresses near passes and all that. They're in a good shape right now. And the rest of this KVK, I kind of really haven't followed too much. I don't know what's going on, truthfully. If you guys want to know everything, you guys want me to cover also the other kingdoms in there, see kind of what's going on in there, which team is going to win, what's what, leave me a comment down below and let me know. I just focused on these two kingdoms as they are the Imperium kingdoms, and they are where the big fights are happening. That's where the big power drops are going to happen. But if we're going to cover this whole KVK, for the record, 574, 573, 591, 568, 554. And if you want to reach out, want to show me reports, we can cover all this. I'm totally down. I love covering KVKs from end to end. Yes, I do know all the kingdoms fighting in here, where they sit and where they are. We set them in the right order, and hopefully we'll get to cover this more. Let me know down below if that's what you'd like. Crazy fights all over the place. This open field shebang went on for hours. Actually, as a matter of fact, it's still going on. I'm recording this video about 24 hours after this happened, and it's still going on. This video is going to be released probably a day and a half. This is the closest, a day and more than a day and a half, almost 2 days after this is going on. I tend to give it a little bit of a break. That way I don't accidentally say something that I shouldn't say, which will change the balance of the war. But at this stage of the fighting, I don't know anything to really cause issues. What really was curious to me was the lack of dropping fortresses early on. Later on in this fight, you'll get to see more fortresses dropping in more strategic places that are better for the fight itself. But more often than not, we saw more fights around fortresses being dropped than flag fights in these scenarios. It seems that the folks in the 500s learned from the mistakes of the early kingdoms. I can tell you that when I was in 196 a long time ago, a stupid amount of fortresses were dropped in a very forward position, which ended up being a very expensive mistake. Other kingdoms that I was in the past used, and KVKs that we've covered in the past used fortresses to move forward into a zone 5 in terms of war more than in terms of passes. But it seems like the meta has shifted in KVK Season 2 to where the fortresses are utilized to secure the passes, and then the next passes and the past passes, if there is access to them, of course, and then flags are used to go push forward. As a matter of fact, double flagging became a serious thing in KVKs nowadays, which is cool. I think the double flagging is a great strategy. It gives you a little bit of breathing room. It allows you to potentially get your enemy to have to waste another flag to move only a couple of tiles forward. If you do it correctly, it's a really good way to drag time, especially if you're in a kingdom where there is a very big difference between high tide and low tide. And so if you know how to place a double flag correctly, it can gain you a lot of time. However, if you don't know how to do it, then all you're making the other team do is rally 2 flags. It makes you have to defend 2 flags. Not a good idea. You really want to make sure you're double flagging in a way where once one flag burns, the other one is just far behind enough so that it creates a very small gap, but just close enough so that that small gap is very small, and it requires the other team to drop another flag to get to your next flag. And when they do that, you can now rally their flag that's constructing and cause a little bit of a distraction. So you don't want to have flags close to each other. You want to actually make sure you tap the flag of your opposition that is next to yours. You see where the limit of their flag is, and then you want to make sure that the flag you're placing is 1 tile away. Its limit is 1 tile away from the flag of your opposition's limit. And that way you create a small gap of air where essentially your opposition has to place another flag to close it. You waste their time putting another flag down. You waste their own resources on flags. You can potentially rally that and put them on the back foot on defense now. And it in general just buys you more time until that low tide goes to high tide and you can get back into fighting. So that's another tip for you guys when it comes to flagging and all that. This is kind of just me rambling on about war, about strategy. There's tons of open field fight madness going on the screen, which I can't say anything bad about. I'm seeing a lot of commanders of the same commanders. We're seeing some Sun Tzus, a lot of archers, which I really like to see. We're seeing some infantry in the form of Richards and Alexanders too. Some Pelagiuses on the field, El Cids, Constantine even running around, which I found a bit weird. I think that those Sun Tzus are great to see, and a couple of Pelagiuses I saw are really, really great as well. It goes to show that folks are using epic commanders on the open field against even like legendary and tier 5 players. We're seeing Jones of Arcs on the field, buffing up their friends all over the place. Ethelfleds debuffing marches all over the place. So a really great variety of commanders, even though we're seeing fairly much the same types. Genghis Khan's doing the damage and all that, but it goes to show that the selection of commanders is here is diverse, but also it's weird, right? It's like it's diverse, but it's also the same types, which tells you that these guys are kind of dividing the roles and the way they set up their troops in a way that it does a lot of damage, it counters opposition, it buffs it buffs themselves, it debuffs others, and there are a few who use epic commanders as that's what they got going for them, and they are still in the fight, which is awesome. More reports coming your way, as for now, Na'Vi and the folks in blue were really dominating the field, and the folks in pink were having a really tough time. There are, unfortunately, I just haven't had I haven't been in touch with anyone in pink yet to get reports from them. Hopefully in the next video we'll have some juicy reports of their action too, and show you guys a little bit of their push. For now, Seb sent me a ton of awesome stuff, so we get to see it. Some defenses along the way, some different types of rallies. Alexander Yi Song-Ye rally is a greatly strong rally. I've been talking about it for quite a bit. There you see it in action. Again, against a Wu Zetian and a Yi Song-Ye, doing stupid amounts of damage. This is why I recommend those of you who want to go infantry to first expertise Yi Song-Ye, and then, well, first of all, you 5-1-1-1 your Richard, so he's available and open and useful for you. From there, you expertise your Yi Song-Ye, and from there, you go towards that Alexander if you're someone who's a low spender, free-to-play player. That way, you have that one pair that is very deadly, Alexander and Yi Song-Ye. You have that Richard available for backup as a infantry commander that can go with Sun Tzu, that can go with a lot of other commanders, and you do damage. Edward Tamaris on the field as well is very bad news for the folks in pink, because that's a deadly combo for Season 2. Lots of damage being done, lots of DPS, a lot of skill damage debuffs to make matters worse, and you can see it in the reports. It's just crazy. Even against a Wu Zetian that's not supposed to be there. It's terrible times. Again, LVIT are no suckers. They do have great returns in their reports as well. Pink does have good reports too, chat, just so you know. Don't go thinking that I'm on blue side. All of a sudden, Gekko is on blue side. Report, dislike. They're just the only ones who give me reports, okay? So don't get too upset, although there's always going to be those who are going to go, hate. We need to find a reason to hate. There we go. We got a reason now to hate. It is what it is. With that being said, all these frontiers were just going crazy. You guys saw previously in the beginning of the video how many different alliances exist in these kingdoms that are super strong and capable to go up against each other. So it was a really awesome thing to watch. We're keeping up with it, and we're making sure we know what's going on. This final kind of scene just to show you guys exactly everything happening along the way, the full map, who is going where, how is this looking like. That there's a couple of fortresses finally dropping in the middle areas there. They're a bit defensive, but they're also further up enough so that they can be supportive to these flags later on. This is going to be very important as flags start going down. You got to be careful not to get cut off. The only disadvantage in what these guys are doing right here right now is that they're doing one straight line towards the top, which means if something like this happens, when there's a flag that can cut them off in the middle there, that can cause troubles. Looking back at pink against blue, you can see baby blue really have a whole area there to themselves. They're just duking it out with pink here and there. Now you can see this area was completely like, all right, well, we're just going to keep burning pink flags. All's good. On the other hand, pink are trying to burn and actually double rallying this baby blue flag. Terrible business. Sucks to get double rallied. Even Wu Zetian at a double rally is a very, very tough choice. Tough situation, especially when you put... Whoa, camera, focus. Especially when you put a Guan. I'm addicted to Guan, apparently. When you put a Khan-led rally with DPS out the wazoo and an Edward rally with DPS out the wazoo, what do you stick in that Wu Zetian to make it survive? You fill it with archers and hope and pray, I guess. You fill it with infantry and get wrecked. You fill it with cavalry, I guess. It's the best thing you could do. Fill it with cavalry so that way it counters that. It doesn't counter, but it equals that Khan in terms of the type of troop. And then it counters the Edward. But again, she's meant for mixed troops, so you got to put a little bit of extra stuff, and she is just taking a beating. Truthfully, 581 could have done a little bit of a better job refilling this flag over and over, but from my understanding, it was a little bit their downtime. They were on a low tide. There were marches coming in here consistently, but at a double rally, allowing the flag to burn, extinguishing it and refilling it and all that good stuff is not necessarily the worst play. This flag will indeed burn, and it caused a little bit of issues, but as you can see, M581, we're not just taking rallies, they're also sending them out. They are not about to fall and not fight. I tried to kind of frame so that you guys can see the double rally and that rally up on the top, but pink instantly swarmed that top rally, and that top rally lasted a very, very little. You can see it's just getting destroyed at this point. Don't overlook 581, ladies and gentlemen. They might be a little weaker than 556, but they're no suckers. They were taking on a double rally and going on the aggressive while at it. So kudos to them for the spirit and for the craziness, because they did a really, really good job. Yes, they disbanded that rally on time, not to take too much damage. Final small tip for you guys: don't allow your rally to go down below 50%. If it's not getting refilled, cancel the rally, restart it. At under 50%, you're really starting to take more losses on your rally than you should. No point for all of that. And as night turns day and day turns night, this flag is about to burn. And that was about all I captured that night. As I mentioned, this was like at 4 a.m. at this point. And so the flag burns, and the next day comes in, and these guys are still at it. Pink this time going up, like I said, trouble in paradise. They pushed baby blue all the way home. But this is where we're going to stop. I wanted to give you a sneak preview of tomorrow's video, because tomorrow's video is going to start from this point on, and we're going to talk about Thursday's video. Tomorrow we stream. But anyway, the next video about this KVK is going to start here, and we'll give you guys all the juicy war fights, strategies, and everything along the way, because you can see here some very good work by 581. But for now, I'm Gekko. I'm out of here. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, join our Discord, join our Instagram, join our Facebook, join our Twitter. I'm active on all of them. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Thank you for all your continued support and making my dream come true. Peace.